ready for takeoff.
We are cleared for takeoff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time to take flight in your community and in your life. This is Audio Airstrike.
What's up, everybody? This is Audio Airstrike, episode 193. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Everett, Hall-McNeill, the host, and with me at this time, we have a familiar guest. He is a pastor, a youth leader, and also an overall good friend of mine from way back in my college days. Ladies and gentlemen, with me at this time, Ivan Morris Jr. is with us. He has his own podcast, and he will definitely give you more details about it towards the end of this episode. But without no further ado, this is a good buddy of mine, good man of God, just a good-hearted dude, has a heart for people, heart for the youth especially. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time with me, this is my special guest, Ivan Morris Jr. is with us. Hey, man, thank you, Ivan, for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you.
Man, what's good, Everett? Man, just thank you for having me on here again. You know, I was on here back in 2019. We chopped it up, and it's always a good time when we link up and get together. And I'm just thankful that you're still keeping this going. Like, even throughout the pandemic, all that was, crazy. And I'm sure it's been tough for a lot of us, but I'm glad you're still keeping this podcast going and you're still doing your thing because, I still peep everything that you're doing. So I'm just thankful that you asked me to be on here again. So, I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you, man. It goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate times that I've gone to your church and visited you and you gave a word. And then on top of that, you can turn around, be real chill, have a total educated sports conversation, a little biased when it comes to the Lakers, but I'll digress.
Look, don't get me started, okay? Don't get me started. You like that with the Ravens too, so.
I am. It's true. I will defend you. So you've seen me on Facebook. I'll defend the Ravens to the death of me. I'll defend the Ravens to the death of me. But I will, if I don't like something, Ivan, I'll call it out. If I don't like something the Ravens are doing, I'll call it out. I'll be fair. But if somebody goes against Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, I'm right in the thick of that argument. I'm like, you ain't about to do that. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, man. So speaking of Jacksons, we ain't talking about Lamar. Jackson Mahomes, who's the brother of Patrick Mahomes, basically overstepped, did a dance on Sean Taylor's 21 on the field. That was supposed to be in honor of him, but Jackson Mahomes went a little bit too far. There was outrage, and he had to apologize for it. So, Ivan, you being a devoted Washington fan, Washington football fan, you being a devoted, die-hard, you ain't never wavered. I respect that. I respect the loyalty. Even though you live in Maryland, I respect the loyalty.
Well, we got fans in Maryland. What you mean? We got the whole side. We got the whole PG Moco side going towards DC. If you want to be tactical.
True. So you got the land that's DMV proper, pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And not to mention, before the Ravens got here, I'm pretty sure most of the people in Maryland was Washington fans, and that's when we were actually good.
Yeah, but then when we saw what was going on, some of us jumped ship. See,
they jumped. What else? What else was they supposed to do? I get it. You know what I mean? And even before the Panthers got a team, North Carolina was us. You feel me?
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this question, man. What do you think about Jackson Mahomes and just his attitude? Because I gotta ask you that, man. This is one of them things where can I be real? Can I just break it down? Can I be overcritical?
Come on, you talking to me? I'm with the real. What you mean? You talking to me now?
Yeah,
be real as you need to be.
So the way I look at it is this, right? So I don't mind Jackson Mahomes doing dances, being funny in front of the camera. That's fine. You want to be doing your TikToks? That's cool. Fine, whatever. You ain't hurt nobody. My problem goes then to when you start pouring water on Ravens fans, just getting disrespectful, like you not reading the room and you dancing on like Sean Taylor's memorial part on the field, like you're not reading the room. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, it's making the Mahomes brand kind of look bad because, some people are not even feeling his wife because she's speaking out at the wrong time. Kind of being a little bit of an entitled person. I feel like since Patrick Mahomes got paid, they've kind of been borderline wilding out. And that's just how I feel about the situation. I think that before he got paid, there was some decorum. You ain't hear no antics. You ain't hear the wife really speaking out. Totally fine. All of a sudden, this man get paid the huge lump sum of money that he got paid, and now all of a sudden he's sitting over there acting like a fool, pouring water on fans. And I know what everybody's saying. Well, we didn't know what happened before, but come on, man. Like, you got to have some decorum and understand. One, you are the brother of one of the most popular quarterbacks right now. Like, people there may be a chance somebody might say something or do something. Like, have some decorum, understand the bigger picture from a media perspective, and be like, you know what? I already know this is going to be bait. They're going to try to make me and my brother look bad. Like, I'm not falling for this. But then sure enough, he does. Maybe it's because he's young. I don't know. So I just think that they need, I think the family needs to be media trained, honestly, to be honest with you.
I agree. That's something they can at least try to do, I would say. Yeah.
They need a deep media training.
Yeah.
Because this, what they're doing right now, is just getting people annoyed with them.
Yeah.
Getting people annoyed with them. What are your thoughts about it? Because I know you was annoyed.
I mean, all right. Look, before we even get to the Sean Taylor thing, let's rewind all the way back to who Jackson Mahomes is. I mean, when you think, he's a quirky, weird type of TikTok guy. He likes dancing. I mean, he seems like he likes to have fun. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna be on here like bashing him, thinking. I mean, I'm not saying he's a terrible dude, but I will say he don't think ever. He doesn't think about anything he does ever, like not ever. And to me, sometimes it appeals or seems like, or comes off like that he's living off his brother's fame. You feel me? Like Patrick, he's doing his commercials. He does his thing. Like besides football and his commercials, stuff like that, he's not out here, really doing much stuff or being in the eye. But Jackson is. Like he's literally like, I'm Patrick Mahomes' brother. Like he's literally in the spotlight doing that type of stuff. So I feel like he's living off his brother's fame a little bit, and that's getting to his head because as his brother's blowing up, his brand is blowing up, and his brother, I guess, is trying to be a part of the brand. He's connected, as his brother. Everyone knows that, stuff like that. So I feel like that's getting to his head a little bit too, as Patrick is starting to blow up. So is he. And I feel like that's getting to his head a little bit. And he's getting some clout on social media. So you know how that goes when you get clout on social media as well because of all that. And he just doesn't think. Like he just does dumb stuff. I know a lot of people are annoyed by him because he's a different guy. He's a different cat. He's a different cat. He's a little quirky. He's a different type of cat. And even with the whole like Ravens, like the Ravens thing, pouring water on, like, come on, bro. Like honestly, if you was a regular Joe, they would have punched you in the mouth. Like, you feel me? Like they would definitely would punch you in the mouth. Like, lucky you are Patrick Mahomes' brother. They probably showed you that much grace because if it was anywhere else, if he was a regular Joe, like if it was a regular Joe that did that, they probably would beat him up. Like, or security might be possibly been around. They probably would beat him up. Like, I'm just being honest.
You got that right. I can make an argument because I saw who he poured it on, and I was like, okay, the people that he poured it on looked like they were younger, just some rowdy, like suburb people. But if it was somebody that grew up with a different code and you poured that on them, you don't think they would have hopped over that railing and kicked the crap out you?
I agree. And that was going to be my next point. Either that or also the fact that they just had they got lucky and did that to the right people that probably at least had self-control and patience. Because I'm trying to tell you, especially emotional after a loss, you feel me? And you do that and they poured you. I'm sorry, my bad. They Ravens won. I'm tripping. So they're already on a high horse, and then you do that to the right. If you do that to the right person, they definitely would punch you in the mouth. So luckily, whatever happened, nothing really escalated towards that. But you have that whole idea, and a lot of people are just annoyed with Patrick Mahomes. Like, I ain't gonna lie, he does have a lot of people that bang on him though. Like, he do got a lot of fans. He has like a little fan base that like him. Probably came from the Chiefs and all that other stuff, but he got people that like him. He do. I mean, I can't be hating on that. He got people he got a little following from TikTok and stuff like that. TikTok gets you popping quick. You know what I'm saying? Quick, real quick. And with the whole Sean Taylor thing, being a Washington fan and Sean Taylor being one of my favorite football players who ever played. So my initial reaction was I was pissed. Like, yo, what you doing? Like, you typically will be in Jackson Mahomes, just being careless, not caring, not giving a crap. Like, I'm just going to do my TikTok thing. And then I started doing more investigation and seeing more tweets. Like the 21 that he danced on, it was also other people that was in it. You feel me? Like that, Travis Kelce's people's in it. Patrick Mahomes' wife was in it. Like it was other people in it. So my thing, I'm like, why is people in it? Period. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my first thing. Like, why is people in it anyway? Now, granted, Jackson Mahomes, I feel like what he did, was it really wrong? Like, was it really like not technically no, because they put him in there. Like they put him in there. Like the people, they put him in there. It wasn't like he hopped the gate. Hopped the little chain thing, and then he did it on his own, and he was by himself. Like they put special cheese peoples in the thing, so they put him in there. It's not like he hopped the thing and did it. But I will say, like you said earlier, he didn't read the room, and not to mention how you already are, and what you just got, and what you just did a few games earlier. You know what I'm saying, with the whole Ravens fan fiasco. Like I feel like obviously you don't read the room, and that's where he was really wrong at. The fact that you just don't do that. Like obviously, that's a special area that you're in, and it's really an honor to be in that area, knowing who Sean Taylor is and the legacy he has with Washington. And that's a gated, that's a fenced off, chained off thing. So honestly, you have to read the room, realize that, okay, when I'm in here, I at least gotta chill. You know what I mean? I at least got, technically, is it technically wrong to dance in there? No, but it looks bad. And not to mention the past stuff that people already thinking you're an idiot, you don't care, you're entitled. You know what I'm saying? And then you go and do that. That just makes it worse. So, I do appreciate, and I honestly, I do appreciate the apology. I do appreciate the apology. I do. You know what I'm saying? Because he could ignore the apology. He could. Was it super sincere? I really don't know. I really don't know. It might have been. I'm not gonna sit here and judge and try to decipher a tweet and see if it's really sincere or not, because it's not a video. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to decipher if he was sincere or not. But I'll give him some credit, because at least he actually did it. Because he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to apologize technically. He didn't have to. He could have just been like, all right, whatever. I'm Patrick Mahomes' brother. Move on to the next city. So I get on to my next TikTok. So he at least acknowledged it. You know what I'm saying he was wrong, and he did apologize for it. So I can commend a man when he actually admits when he's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I always commend that. But I will say Patrick Mahomes. Not Patrick Mahomes. His brother. I know he's younger, and he has some type of fame, and his brother has money and stuff like that, but he has to learn to really chill. I'm not saying don't do TikToks anymore and don't be yourself. Like, be yourself. People go, you're different. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have people that want to rock with you, that's supposed to rock with you. But you need to, as you said earlier, read the room better. You need to think a lot more before you actually do stuff. Like, use wisdom and use these past experiences and learn from them, and actually start thinking before you start doing any of these different things. I'm not saying don't do TikTok or anything like still be you at the end of the day, but you can't be throwing water on people, like in memorial sections. Be careful about dancing and stuff like that. Like, you just gotta be, and stop. You're not your brother. Use your brother's resources for your benefit. Yes, use your brother's resources for the benefit, but you're not him at the end of the day. So you can't be acting like you're him. You're not him. You know what I'm saying? You don't really, besides the TikTok thing, I'm not even sure what he really does, to be honest. Who knows what the guy actually does outside of making TikTok, which you can get paid good money for doing TikTok. You can. I'm not even hating on it. That's what's up. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I had the time to do that. But like I said, you're not your brother. So be humble with the resources. Be humble with the opportunities that you got that a lot of people don't get. And continue to use it for your good. You know what I mean? And then build your own legacy even outside your brother. You know what I'm saying? Don't always be as known as Patrick Mahomes' brother. You know what I mean? Like, be you. Be yourself. Create your own lane, but just use your brother's resources for the right things, and continue to have the right attitude. And just think, before you decide to make a decision, actually think about, is it a good idea? What's the possible repercussions? Like, and with any decision, like, that's what we all should do, honestly. Like, even if it seems like there's a no-lose situation, still think about it. Still think about it. He's a young guy. At my early 20s, I did stupid stuff. You know what I mean? We all did. So, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much how I feel about the whole Jackson Mahomes thing, for real.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you, because it's one of those things when it comes to siblings. After a while, siblings sooner or later get tired of being in their older brother or younger brother's shadow. It happens. You don't want to do that. You want to establish your own path. You want to make your own. You want to get your own spotlight. It happens with everybody. Eli and Peyton went through it. Go on and on and on and on. The different brothers that have played in different leagues. It's one of those things. where I look at it like this, right? He's not doing anything that's destructive. He's dancing. Now, I think he needs to be a little bit more humble of the opportunity and understand, okay, the reason why that I'm in this position is because of the spotlight on my brother and because I dance and because of who my brother is. Okay, I've been able to carve out a decent fan base. Okay, now let me take this and not only do the dances, but also open up about who I am, kind of build my brain up as to who I am. Not the clout that I get from my brother, but who I am as a person, and let me utilize that. I think if he takes that approach, then that will be something that will be more beneficial to him. I do think that, and I stated that before, I'll reiterate it again. Both of them need to get media trained. Both of them need to have some decorum and understand that, look, y'all are getting away with this because of who y'all tied to. And I'm going to say this right here. In this league and the way the NFL is, if that was Lamar Jackson's siblings acting like that, I guarantee you they would not be getting away with it. And people would be looking at that in a totally different spectrum, a totally different view. And that's a freaking fact. Yeah. Right. Yeah, we definitely know what the deal is. Right. Absolutely. On site. So, yeah. So it's one of those situations. Ivan was right. He's like, oh, look at Everett caping for Lamar again.
For this instance, no, I agree with you because the point you're trying to draw is because of most of his fan base, or like it's on that type of side. Which Lamar, we know why the flack he gets. We get because even though like the black quarterback stigma, it has improved dramatically since like Warren Moon, like the Warren Moon when Warren Moon couldn't even like get drafted. He had to go to Canadian League before he can come here. Like they try to make him a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like it progressed since then, but it's still like there's still some like stench that's still, you know, even Justin Fields, like even with the last draft with Justin Fields, now all of a sudden he's not like a team player. Like now they're trying to find different issues with it because there was really no flack with Justin Fields really, but they're trying to give him off field. It still lingers. Like the whole black quarterback thing, it still lingers. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, Lamar, he still gets that flag. Other black quarterbacks still get that flag. You know what I mean? Even Deshaun Watson still got that flag. Like they took the Bears moved up and picked up what's his freaking name? Oh man, he came from North Carolina. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he was a scrub pretty much. He was a scrub. You know what I mean? And Deshaun Watson, obviously, he was one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in college at the time. They pretty much overlooked him, or you know, they're trying to play him off and all this other different stuff. So like it still lingers in there for sure. Like, and granted, Patrick Mahomes is still half and half. You know what I mean? Like he's still half and half. But however, we know what the deal is. That stench is still there in the NFL.
Yeah, we definitely know what the deal is. So at the end of the day, it's like you guys are in a very unique position that a lot of people cannot get to. And a lot of people are still willing to, despite how y'all coming off, y'all are given some type of grace to improve. Nobody's looking at y'all as monsters. But at the same time, you have a strong amount of the public that finds y'all annoying and you making Patrick Mahomes look bad. We feeling sorry for this dude. I remember I saw one video, they were dancing at the bar. Patrick Mahomes looked so like uninterested. Yo, he looked so uninterested.
I just wonder, it's like, yo, do you sit down with your brother and be like, yo, stop? Like, yo, you need to stop doing what you're doing. Like, do you ever have that talk with your, or he's just that defiant and don't listen? I feel like Patrick don't even talk. He seems like he's just not that non-confrontational. Like he's the type of person that just like ignores people and he doesn't want to deal with drama or any type of conflict. I just get that vibe from Patrick. Like, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't like dealing with confrontation. I feel like it could have been nipped already if he would have just told Jackson, like, yo, chill. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like he does that. Or if he does do that, he ain't doing it as seriously as he should. You know what I mean? And I feel like one good conversation with Jackson, because Jackson, I mean, it's Jackson Mahomes at the end of the day. It's Jackson Mahomes. So I feel like he just sat his brother down and like on a serious tip, like, yo, I love you. You feel me? I love you. You know, I'll do anything for you. I want to help you progress and be successful like me and all these different things. But what you're doing right now is not exactly helping you or helping the brand right now. So I want you to be you, but you also have to keep in mind the bigger picture is bigger than you. Like we have to think about the future, not even just necessarily right now. So certain antics you have to do, you got to chill. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to mess up my brand too. You know what I mean? You can't mess up my brand as well. Because if you mess up my brand, it's also messing you up. Ultimately, it's gonna mess you up in the long run as well. So I feel like if he had a serious talk like that with him, I mean, not saying if he hasn't done it already, because if he's done it, at this point Jackson's defiant, and then he need to cut him off. But if he hasn't, which I don't think he's had it, that's just my opinion. I don't think he has. Then I think it can help. I honestly do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I want to switch gears and talk about Baker Mayfield. And I'm gonna be honest with you. This is just my thoughts, right? This is Everett. This is what I would say. This is what I would say if I wasn't a Ravens fan. This is what I've talked with Browns fans and they agree with me, and I'm a Ravens fan. Yeah, I've talked with this to Browns fans and they agree with me. Like, shout out to Tall Guy Gaming. I talked with him on Facebook, and he asked me, and he's pretty annoyed. He's a Browns fan, but he's pretty annoyed with Baker. And I'm saying, what I said to him, I'll say on this podcast. And the reality of the situation is, I said, Baker Mayfield, when everything is going right, everything is going well, he's a stand-up teammate. But his attitude sometimes when he is dealing with a struggle or dealing with a loss or dealing with players, his attitude can potentially low-key poison the locker room and leave people uninspired. And when he gets into his mood, it sets off an energy that ain't inspiring players to win all the time. When you see Cam Newton, when you see Lamar, when you see Patrick Mahomes, they rally around their quarterback. The quarterback is giving the offense life. Just from a motivational perspective, you don't really see that with Baker. Especially with Odell leaving and going to the Rams, especially when you hear rumors of him, copping the attitude and this and that. And then when I turn around and I hear Browns fans frustrated with Baker, because while on one hand, you're being somewhat productive, it's not getting the job done. And on top of that, they're not happy with his attitude either. So when it comes to struggles in leadership, what's some advice that you would give Baker Mayfield considering all that's going on? Because, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the worst thing that could happen in a locker room is somebody that – because what I don't want to have happen is I don't want Baker Mayfield to be like a Cleveland version of Jay Cutler. I don't want that happening. And that's coming from somebody that's a rival of theirs. Like, I don't want that happening. I don't wish that on nobody. What are your thoughts?
I mean, when it comes to, like, I guess being a good leader, I mean, the number one thing about being a good leader is learning how to take accountability. Now, when I first look at Baker Mayfield when he came into the league, especially when he had a good rookie season, he set the rookie touchdown record at the time. He got a little cocky, and also we got to think about this too. Like, the media has a lot to play with it as well when it comes to this, because we already know how Baker was at Oklahoma. He was, very, very confident, came off as cocky, but very confident, stuff like that, which honestly, that fuels sports. It does. I mean, it is what it is. And then after him having a good rookie year, he got all the commercials, the media was hyping up the Browns because they got all the talent and stuff like that. And then you see him slide his sophomore year, and he had pretty much a humble pie, right? He had humble pie. And after that, what I've noticed even recently, like in his interviews, like even after the whole Odell thing, because the whole thing about Odell, Odell should have been freed. I agree with that decision. Odell should have did this, but Odell also did some wrong things in that predicament as well. Like, come on, you gonna tell me he had nothing to do with his dad making that video? He had nothing to do with that. There's no way.
Odell's not a saint. I'm not saying he is.
No. I'm just saying, like, with that whole situation, if I was Baker, I'll be pissed. Like, I would literally, like, regardless of y'all chemistry, y'all not being on the same page, all this other different stuff, there's certain things you just don't do. And your dad literally made a whole contemplation video, you know, which you obviously had a part in. Like, I don't care what nobody say. Obviously, he had a part in. His dad just didn't really wake up one day. Like, come on, Odell had a part of that. You know what I'm saying? And Baker actually didn't diss Odell. He didn't, you know, he said he was upset about it a little bit, which he has every right to be, you know what I mean? And he you know, he still wished him the best, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I was seeing more mature growth from Odell. I mean, not Odell, Baker at this point of his career, where he's actually starting to take accountability in a lot of what's going on, even from his play, even from the whole Odell situation. He actually did take a lot of accountability, which I gotta give him credit for, because as a man and as a leader, that's the number one thing you need to possess, is taking accountability, knowing you can be even at times when it's not even necessarily your fault. Learning to take accountability, saying I'm wrong, because once you can do that, then that's when you can start to progress and move forward, and that's a huge thing, I will say. Now with Baker in this play, I mean, because to be honest, even with the whole Odell situation, like, he plays better when Odell's not even on the field. You know what I mean? Like, they're a better team. Like, even last year, they struggled a little bit once Odell got hurt. They went on a win streak. You know what I'm saying? They won a playoff game. Like, they played better without Odell. I mean, obviously, we know the meltdown they had like a week ago, and he didn't look that great against the Lions either. But also, Baker is dinged up. You know, he's not 100% healthy, but he's on the field. You know, that's my rule. If you're on the field, you gotta play, regardless if you're hurt or not. If you hurt on the field and you're on the field, you playing, you gotta hurt. Injuries don't matter at that point because you're on the field, so you're good enough to play. So, I will say this about Baker. I do see signs that he's trying to grow, especially compared to how he was when he first got in. He's like, he did kind of a total 180 when it came to how because when he first came in, he came in entitled. He came in cocky, honestly. He came in like he actually done something and proved something in the league, which he didn't, and he got humbled like a mug. You know what I'm saying? He got humbled a lot. And I see him showing his signs that he's taking more accountability and stuff like that. I mean, but he's still not there yet. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still not there. The Browns are still it's a weird situation with the Browns to me. Like, they do have the talent. I mean, they do have a lot of injuries on the line. Chubb has some COVID stuff injuries. Baker's been hurt. Like, even Jarvis Land. I mean, they had injuries. Like, they definitely had injuries and stuff like that. So I will say this about Baker Mayfield. I see some growth in him. I can actually admit that. I do. I think I do see some growth in him. But like I said, he's still not all the way there yet. Like, yes, he still has attitude problems. Yes. Could he handle things better? Sure. But in interviews or after press, he's real with every answer he says. He does take accountability. I got to give him that. And not to mention, when it comes to the actual players on the team, nobody really comes out and says anything super negative about him. You know what I mean? They don't. Now, the fans, sure. Fans, yes. People like us, yes. People on ESPN, yes. They say it, but I haven't heard not one Cleveland Brown since he's been there really say anything super negative about Baker or how he's a cancer in the locker room or all this. I mean, I just haven't heard it. Even like Odell, the way he even left, he didn't really called Baker out and said he was like this horrible, like, you know what I'm saying? It just didn't happen. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it as he's someone that's starting to progress. He's starting to take accountability, but obviously he still needs a lot of work in other different areas. But when it comes to his actual teammates, I haven't heard any, and I gotta go by that more than anybody else's opinion. I gotta go by what the teammates. Now, if you got teammates, linemen, other people out here saying like, oh yeah, Baker tripping, or it's been like this, or blah, 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 then that's a whole nother conversation. And obviously there's something going on. You know what I mean? But if I haven't specifically heard it from a team, someone that used to play with them, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can't say he's a cancer or locker room cancer because nobody on the team, past or present, has confirmed that. So it's just fans are just upset with his play, which rightfully so. You should be upset about his play. I get that, but you can't say it's because he's a cancer in the locker room or all this other stuff. That's just I don't know where they're getting at. So.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know what's, I don't know. I'm hearing rumors from some Browns fans. He may not be there next year, and I don't know how truthful that is. I mean, I'm not putting any stock in that. I gotta wait to see what happens.
They're in a weird predicament where they're going to have to pay him after this year, and they could let him walk, but Is there anybody in college that is better than Baker Mayfield right now? Probably not. And free agency, is there going to be any free agents that's going to be dramatically better than Baker Mayfield? No. So the Browns are in a weird predicament where, regardless of how the season ends, whether it ends good or bad for them, they're going to have to pay this man. Because to be honest, there's no who else on the market you going to get? Like, who else on the market you going to get? Like, there is nobody else on the market you can get right now. They're in a tough spot. But this is where the even more weird part comes in. The fact is, how much do you pay him? And does Baker accept that payment? Or they can do the franchise tag route, which that's even just as bad because of how much money he's going to get. So they're in a weird predicament right now. You know what I mean? Because if they let him walk, who are they going to replace him with?
Well, if they got enough salary cap to pay him, and I don't really look, it's the Browns, I don't really pay attention to the salary cap and all that. I'm not that invested. But if their salary cap allows them to pay him what they think he's worth and it's a mutual agreement, okay, then fine, you got to do what you got to do. But I'm telling you right now, there are some teams out there that will, the second Baker Mayfield is on free agency, they're going to take him. They put him in a new system, they're going to take him.
Of course, absolutely. You got scrubs backups that's still finding jobs, like repeatedly. Yep. So there's teams that would definitely take him. So that's why the Browns are in a spot where they got to give him the money, regardless of what happens this year. Because if you lose him, more than likely, 90% is going to be that you're not going to find anyone better than him to replace him. So obviously you're going to find someone that's probably not going to be as good as him, and you're going to be even in a worse position than you're already in. So they're going to have to pay him. But do you pay him $30 million a year? That's the question. Would you pay him $30 million a year? Does he deserve Lamar Jackson money?
Oh, in my opinion, no.
Does he deserve Josh Allen money, Patrick Mahomes type money? Does he deserve that type money? That's the question.
Yeah, not right now. They ain't gonna pay him that. They're not gonna pay him that. They're not gonna pay him Josh Allen money. They're not gonna pay him Lamar Jackson money. He'll get paid something under that, but he's not getting that.
He can leverage to the point where they gotta give him $30 million, because who else they gonna get?
Oh, he can definitely legally rob the bank and be a stick-up, be like, hey, man, I want my $30 million now. He can definitely do that.
Because even Dak really did it. Because Dak didn't really earn his contract, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dak he's better than Baker Mayfield, obviously, but he didn't really deserve his contract. But the Cowboys knew they was in a tight spot, and they were going to find anybody better than him. So Jerry took the gamble, and he paid him. He paid him more than, he paid him the money that he actually wanted. So he got paid the big money. So I'm just saying Baker Mayfield could he could get paid like good money because the Browns are in a tight spot and they have no choice, because who else they gonna get? Who else they gonna get? Colt McCoy? who else they gonna get? Like, are they gonna take Trace McSorley from the Cardinals? Like they're in like they ain't got no choice.
They really it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't pay Baker, he's going to get pissed and probably go somewhere else. If you do pay him, it could affect your salary cap, depending on how that's shaped up. Now, I don't have that in front of me, so I don't know. But
it can shape up. It really can shape up how the team plays. Like, success. Like, and obviously that's the thing they're mainly looking at, because, if you keep.
I don't see Baker taking a pay cut.
Heck no.
Just to get more weapons into Cleveland.
Heck no.
Have enough weapons.
Heck no. I mean, this era, quarterbacks is getting paid, and I don't see a lot of them taking no pay cuts. Like, when y'all eventually play Lamar, I don't know if he's going to take a pay cut. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to say that. Like, you get paid all this money. Oh, yeah, we want you to take this. No, why? I'm doing everything you want. You're telling me I need to go out here and be Superman. I want my money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and at the end of the day, we're fans. We want players to do the right thing, but I also got to leave my fan body and think about them and what they think, because they got families to feed. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm for black men getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So, I at the end of the day, I'm a fan. I want you to make the right decision so my team can be good. But at the end of the day, I got to think about your well-being, and you deserve to get paid too. You do. So it's just a tough spot, for.
Oh, Ivan, you broke up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
You're good now. Yeah, you're good
Okay.
now.
Okay, cool.
What were you
All right.
saying?
But I'm just saying, like, just the Browns in a tough spot, but they just got to pay him. And maybe Baker will play great like he did towards the end of last season. And you know what? Then they'll be like, all right, bet we can feel comfortable paying this man. Or it could be the opposite, and you can just look bad and just average, and then they still want to pay this man. So I'm just glad I'm not the Browns. So
yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. So I want to get to, and we can briefly talk about this. There was a brief back and forth between Shannon Sharp and DK Metcalf. And the way I look at it is this: Shannon Sharp is a multiple-time Super Bowl champion. However, he also is a part of the media, but he also has played. So we're talking about an athlete that knows what it takes to win, and he's won more than once. And if he is harsh on his critique, it's because of the era he came from. Now, in my opinion, if DK Metcalf can handle it, in my personal opinion, that should have been a one-on-one conversation. But when you do it over Twitter, it's like the privacy of everything is null and void at that point. Now it's out there. DK Metcalf is a little more sensitive. He's the type of person, he wants the ball, he wants to make a big play, and if he don't get it, he might have something to say about it. That's what I've heard from Seahawks fans. I've even heard Seahawks fans tell me that he comes off kind of like a West Coast version of what Odell is, or what Odell was, to a point. I'm not saying they're the same person. I'm not trying to villainize these two, but that's just what I'm hearing. So I look at it like this, man. There was a lot of bluntness in terms of the advice, in terms of his thought on the play. So I mean, at some point, is it worth going back and forth with somebody? You know what I mean? And because you can look at the tweets and tell he definitely took exception to the way Shannon Sharp was coming at him. So it's like, is it like one of the generational disconnects where it's like the younger generation pays attention to tone? You ain't going to talk to me a certain type of way, because if you talk to me a certain type of way, I'm through with you. We are like that to a point. If a tone ain't right, and I think, if a tone ain't right, if your energy is off, I'm just not going to fool with it, and I'm protect my peace. That's how we kind of are. That's how we are, and generations younger of us are. We are like that. So I think that's where DK Metcalf comes from. Shannon Sharp comes from an era where a little bit, arguably twice as older, more blunt. You have to take the bluntness for what it is. And if it comes out incorrectly, you have to find the message through the incorrect answer. That's where he comes from. That's his generation. So the way I look at it is that you have one person from a generation that is saying, I don't like being talked to this way, tone-wise. And then you have another generation that says, I don't care about tone. Did you get the message? I told you what it was. And so now there's a clash. Because he's saying he's going to stand on his 10 and be like, you're not going to tell me. You're not going to talk to me that way, basically, is the gist of what I got from the tweets. So what are your thoughts, man? I think it's really what it boils down to is a huge disconnect between generations. And I tell older people all the time, you have to learn and understand at least that everybody's different in terms of youth and in terms of people that are younger than you. Like, because you can come off, if you say something that they deem as jerkish, it could be just tone. You could be saying all the right stuff, but if your tone ain't right, it comes off like you're talking down to me instead of, you know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan. I mean, I am a huge thing of like not about what you say, it is how you say it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because even though you can be 100% right, people can dismiss it. But I will say for this situation is kind of different. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. Now, the one thing is different in these type of situations is because how we're saying it in a strictly conversation basis. Like for instance, if I'm talking to you and I'm telling you something you're doing wrong. Now, me and you have we're having a conversation one-on-one, and I'm yelling at you, being all extra with it and stuff like that. Obviously, you're going to get defensive. Obviously, you're not going to listen to what I'm going to say. You're going to brush it off. Now, we also have to remember, like Shannon, Shaq, and all these guys, they're on TV, television, getting asked specific questions and stuff like that. And on TV and on the media, you have to bring a certain energy, entertainment factor, and all that stuff. And all that does come into play. It does.
Yeah.
Because if he's on there like, yeah, DK, you just got to do better, buddy. You know, you can do it.
That ain't gonna get no ratings.
Like it's not. It's not gonna get no like. This is like I'm being honest here. That's not gonna get no ratings. So Shannon got to be a tad bit extra with it. But even what he was saying, he played high school football. You know what I'm saying? Like high school football, they yell at you. College football people, they yell at you. Even NFL, they yell at you. You know what I'm saying? Like these younger players, they gotta these younger players, they gotta have somewhat of a backbone to a certain degree. You gotta have a backbone. I'm not saying let anybody talk to you any kind of way, but you gotta have a backbone. Being critiqued is part of your job. You are a professional on national television, and when you play bad and do boneheaded moves, people are going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So people are going to talk about it. It's going to happen, and a lot of the OGs, you feel me, like Shannon Sharp or like Shaq when it comes to basketball and stuff like that. Most of the time, when they're giving critiques, they're really giving you free game on how to help your game. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the younger generation, they have to realize that as well. You know what I mean? They have to realize that. And not to mention, they have to realize he's on TV. He's talking in a different tone. He's not even talking directly to you. You know what I'm saying? He's talking to the people that's around you about the conversation about you. You know what I'm saying? He's not talking directly to you. So he's not literally dogging you as a person. He's saying the mistake in certain things that you did. And not to mention, there's past stuff with DK that he does wrong all the time with his drop passes and his lackluster energy sometimes and all this other different stuff. You know what I mean? So sometimes we can't always get upset because we're not getting coddled. Because even if Shannon, regardless, to me, it's not even really the energy. It's the fact he's critiquing, period. These new players, they have a problem with getting critiqued, period. No matter what. No matter how, if it's light tone or soft tone, they don't like to get critiqued. They want everyone to praise them and sing their praises and glory a lot of the times. I'm not saying it's always the case, but for a lot of them, they don't want to get critiqued. They don't like getting critiqued. They just want to hear you say all the good stuff about them. But when they mess up, then it's all you hate and then it's a problem and blah, 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 and all this and that. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's not a problem. I mean, get over it. Like this stuff, you got to get over it. Like you do stuff wrong. You know what I'm saying? Their job is to talk about when you don't do wrong. But you have the occasion people that actually played Hall of Famers that are talking, that are giving you free game all the time. Free game about which you can do right. Like, and also DK, do your homework. He responded to Shannon like he was a scrub. Like he was a Hall of Famer. And then once he did do his homework, or somebody that hit him up was like, yo, this is Shannon Sharp, a Hall of Fame tight end, one of the best tight ends to ever play football. Then he changed his whole energy. Then it's like, my bad. Then he said, my bad. I pray one day my career is like yours. After he realized he did that homework and realized what his credentials were, then he's like, my bad. Oh, my bad. You know what I'm saying? Then he tried to change, his whole energy was different. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying that to say, like, with the younger generation, sometimes what we got to do, even with us, like the people that's ahead of us, before us, we need to listen to the free game that they give us. Not all the time is it going to be in a calm type of voice. Now, I'm not saying if you're having a one-on-one conversation, they can talk down on you and literally disrespect you. Like Shannon Sharp didn't disrespect you. You know what I'm saying? Now they saying something disrespectful to you and demeaning you as a man. That's completely different. I get it. That's completely different. But Shannon Sharp wasn't disrespecting you, calling you out your name. He was literally talking about the game, like how you like the mistakes you made in a football game, which is part of his job. You know what I mean? Or even Shaq, when he talks about basketball players and stuff like that. Like he's not saying it to literally be like, he's a legend. He's giving you free game. And as younger people, like people before us in our professions, because whatever profession or whatever we're doing, we should have people that we look up to that are older that been there before. We should have that. And this generation, they don't want that. They don't want no mentors and stuff like that. A lot of them don't want mentors and stuff like that. They just want to do their own thing and not hear and not be held accountable for a lot of stuff. And I think that's the problem too. Like there's a lack of wanting mentorship, I feel like now. Like even in the church, for instance, like discipleship is not what it should look like. You know what I mean? Discipleship is not really walking along with somebody's life. Because really, if you're thinking about mentorship or even discipleship, I'm using the churchy word, it's literally you're giving someone permission to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
To personally hold you accountable and stuff in your life. And that's what the younger generation, we're missing that. Like we allow certain people to say stuff to us, but then we don't actually listen to it. Like we don't actually allow certain people to give us permission to actually guide with us and walk with us and actually tell us things that we need to work on.
You hit the nail on the head, man, because we want accountability. We want accountability as long as it doesn't involve us at times. And when it comes to accountability and when it comes to looking at, okay, what am I doing right in this situation? What am I doing wrong? How am I communicating with other people? Am I on my square? What are some things that I'm being hypocritical at? We are afraid to ask those questions because everybody has a certain level of pride in who they are. And when that pride gets checked, it hurts. Because everybody's got an ego to them, especially if you're doing sports. When that pride gets checked, when that ego gets checked, it hurts in a way that it catapults anger, it catapults frustration, it catapults a number of different emotions in a certain way. Because when accountability forces you to be vulnerable in a way that pride doesn't allow you to. Pride, ego, cockiness, you can kind of flex and get the admiration. It's more fun. It's more fun to a lot of people. But when you have to be vulnerable and honest and be like, look, I messed up on this. I did this. I said this wrong. I did this wrong. I said this. Like, I'll be honest with you. There's some people, I've lost respect for people younger than me, older than me, just because of how they carry themselves. They don't keep themselves accountable. It's like they see everything else. They don't see how to keep themselves. There's nothing that ticks me off more than somebody that does not keep themselves accountable as to what they're doing. I can't stand that. Everybody in my circle is blunt and honest. Now, there's different degrees of blunt and honesty, but if on one moment we're being blunt and honest, and then when that time comes for that person, and that person switches up and decides, well, I'm above this, that's a red flag. You might as well get the red flag emojis going at that point, because they're not willing to take accountability. So, and that's something that I truly believe, yeah. And I hate to say this, but I feel like across the board, a lot of us, and it doesn't matter what generation we're currently in, we don't want to take accountability or realize that we've done something wrong, or we've even, like, I know people that are so prideful, they've done things to tick the other person off right next to them, and they don't even pick up on, yo, they're pissed off because of this. They don't fool with you because of this. They don't even shake your hand when you leave or say goodbye or whatever. They just say, okay, I'm gone. They're not even picking up on the small details that person is losing respect for you because you're not keeping it accountable.
Yeah. You'll never grow as a person if you're not truly allowing yourself to be accountable. And the sad part is when people don't really realize and think that when you actually hold yourself accountable, it's actually a good thing. Like, that's how you actually grow. When someone tells you what you need to hear, that's when you fix certain areas and things in your life, and then you're able to progress. So it's actually a good thing when people hold you accountable. Now, does it always feel good? No, it doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to feel good all the time. That's the whole point of being accountable. It's not supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to be what you want to hear, is what you need to hear in order to progress in life, to progress in things that you need to work on. And sometimes people are wondering why they're always getting stuck in the same revolving relationship door. Now, I'm not even talking about just like with a spouse, but even with friendship or people around them in general, you know what I mean? Or why they haven't progressed to certain areas in their life and stuff like that is because the lack of accountability, the lack of people around you. Like, we'd rather be surrounded by yes men which pretty much yes men are people that don't really care about us versus people that will be honest with us, but they're not really realizing that people being honest with us actually really care about us. Because if you really care about somebody, you're going to tell them the right thing so that way they can actually get helped or healed or actually progress and move. Like, if someone's just going to agree and condone your bad behavior, they don't really care about you. They don't give a crap about you. They don't care. They're going to continue. They won't condone or never say anything or just like watch it with a blind eye and all that different stuff and being complicit to what you're doing. They don't care about you. Like, the people that care about you are actually going to tell you when you're wrong. They're going to tell you, like, they're going to hold you accountable for certain things. And it doesn't feel good because they're saying truthful things about what we're actually doing that is wrong. But at the end of the day, they actually care and they want you to correct certain things so that way you're able to progress and move on. But a lot of people don't see it that way. And that's why we don't really get nowhere, because people can't take accountability. And I remember we even talked about accountability like a few years ago. We talked about it a little briefly. But at the end of the day, you know, you already said it. Like, accountability is something that everybody wants. We all want other people to be accountable. Oh, yeah, you need to be accountable. You need to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? Until it gets to us. Always. When it gets to our flesh and our sins and the stuff we do. And then, oh, never mind. Then I don't want to be accountable. Or I don't want to work. No. Because accountability takes work. And that's ultimately what it is, too. It takes work. And we don't want to take work. We rather take the easy way out. You know, we live, that's how society is. Society wants to make everything easier and faster. Like, when it comes to technology, when it comes to like GPS, you want to get there faster. Microwaves, you want to cook food faster. You know, 5G, in a few years, it could be 6, 7, 8G, 9G. You know what I'm saying? We want everything fast. And we really are setting ourselves up to be less patient, and we're also setting ourselves up to be less willing to work for certain things. You know what I mean? Because of that. Yeah. Like, the society all around us is built to be fast, to not wait, to not endure the process, really. You know what I mean? And that's what accountability is. Accountability is you have to endure the process. You have to work at it. You know what I'm saying? You have to actually put forth into it. And we don't want to do that because it hurts, it's painful, and we don't want to put in all the effort to actually work. But lowly, if people just realize when you do, it actually helps. It is actually mad beneficial, and you actually will progress in life, then more people will actually want to do it. But until they look at it that way, instead of looking at it the other way, then we're just going to continue to be in this cycle over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, true. And I think when we talk about accountability, and I want to circle this back around to the Odell issue and the fact that, for one, I noticed that when it comes to athletes being accountable of their money, and now we're seeing athletes really look into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and stuff like that. Odell wants a salary in Bitcoin with the Rams. Of course, a fan that gave back Tom Brady's 600 touchdown ball. He got a signed jersey. He got a helmet from Tom Brady. He got one Bitcoin worth $60,000 at the time. I know Bitcoin's going a little bit down since then. And so now athletes are becoming more business minded, and also they understand that I have to, in order for me to make money, I have to be willing to be fan minded as well and make them feel appreciated. Now, when it comes to the accountability part, I definitely agree with you. And I want to kind of get into this last topic, these last couple topics, and we see people, you know, getting into, you know, athletes getting into crypto and really planning out for their future. Because Odell, I think, is the first ever NFL player to ask for his salary to be literally paid through cryptocurrency. He knows doggone well that cryptocurrency is going to go up. So he's going to make money not just off endorsement deals, not just off of, not just off of endorsement deals and salary base. He's going to probably 10x his money by the time he retires, and even if he gets a media job. Because let's be honest, Odell has a personality to him. It wouldn't surprise me if he got into modeling. It wouldn't surprise me if he got into movies. Odell's that type of person. he's not going to be going to a desk and becoming a media personality. I think he easily could be, because he could be a funny character, but he's going to do more stuff outside of that and be more of an overall entertainer, similar to what Shaq is. So when I look at that, I think that that's going to be crucial. And I think he's going to pave the way for a lot of, I think in 10 years, I think half of the NFL players are going to have their salary basically be played in cryptocurrency. That's a little, that's what I think is going to happen. That's a projection that I think is going to happen. I think I think it's going to be not just the NFL. I think it's going to be the NBA too. I think NBA players are going to start asking, hey, I want this amount of money worth. I want this amount of money in Bitcoin. Pay me through my, send it to my wallet so it's there. I want this sent to my wallet every single time. Now, and now if you're the organization, you're looking at this and going, okay, let's build the bridge. Let's make it happen. Or you're looking at this and going, okay, depending on, and this is really going to test the organization, because are you going to play cheap over cryptocurrency or just do the right thing and pay these people in crypto? Because you can't predict if crypto is going to go up or going to go down. So if you get hesitant paying somebody in cryptocurrency, knowing that they could 4x or 10x their salary over years, do you knowing that, do you want to pay now or more later? And screw yourself out of making sure that this player is good for the next 4 to 5 years that he's going to be there. And think about it. If you pay him now, he's probably going to be more inclined to stay there because he's already making the money that isn't affecting the salary cap. Think about it. He's 10xing his money or 4 times his money, and it's not affecting the salary cap. So companies, it makes sense to pay these athletes in cryptocurrency from now on. If I paid you in Bitcoin 2017 when it was like, I don't think it even hit 18 grand yet. Yeah. If I paid you, I wish people talked about it more. If I paid you in cryptocurrency back then, and you look at it now, man, listen, we don't need to give you an extension. You look how much money you made. Just off the deal I gave you, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about, man. I think that's going to be a huge, huge deal. And I think more people, I think NBA is going to get on it. NHL is going to get on it. Don't be surprised if sports betting gets into crypto. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it's already happening. We got the metaverse going on. Yeah. I mean, people are already invested in NFTs. And then on top of that, so, I mean, that's another good way of accountability on the owners and all the way around. It just helps the ecosystem out more. And Ivan, what are your thoughts about that? And then I'm going to get to the LeBron suspension part.
Okay. So real quickly, because, I mean, I'm not the biggest, because I'm still researching, like, I'm not the biggest crypto expert or nothing like that. I don't think really nobody is, to be honest. But what I will say is that for once, I see a big push of people wanting to be more financially illiterate. You know what I mean? Because growing up, like when you think about going to high school and stuff like that, or growing up, like, what was the main thing you heard about? What was important? Like, make sure you go to college. Make sure you, it was no push on being financial illiterate. Like, we didn't know nothing about stocks. We didn't know nothing about investments. We didn't know nothing. It was pretty much a push to just go to college and do things to pretty much get ourselves in debt. Now, college itself is pretty much an investment too, because especially if you're taking out a loan and stuff like that, depending on what your major is, you know what I'm saying? It is an investment, and depending on what your major is, you'll be okay by the time you finish college and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people out here that went to college, got degrees, and still not even working on what they got the degrees for, and still are most likely going to be paying back their loans for a good amount of time in their life. So, like, I just wish, like, when I was younger, someone, like, pushed and talked to me about being more financially literate and being, thinking more about investments, teaching me more about that, about my money and stuff like that. And now what I'm seeing is I'm starting to see a slight push where people are starting to be more financially alert or get to the point where it's like that now, where people being more cautious and accountable when it comes to like their finances and looking out for their future. Because honestly, crypto might get to the point where it's going to run off. It's going to run like the whole world's going to run off it. Or my bad, at least the country. My bad, the whole country's going to run off straight cryptocurrency. Like we can get to that point somewhere in the future. Like that's not a far-fetched thing to think about. Like it could definitely happen. And I think it's important. Like I know, like for my future kids and stuff like that, I want to push to make sure they're being financed. I want them to learn from the mistakes and stuff that I made. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, college and everything is good. Like it's good. It's a good thing, good experience and stuff like that. But I think it's also important to push other things, pushing our kids to be more financially literate, like so that way they're not struggling in debts like that. So that way they are investing and looking out in their future and stuff like that. But I think that stuff's important. I'm starting to see more people are starting to pave the way and letting people know that. Like it's not just go to college, find a job. You know what I'm saying? Like it's other ways to do certain things. And the world, the world's not really like the world is not ran by college. It is ran on currency though. It's ran on that. So what I'm going to say about that is just the fact that I'm proud, and I'm even doing more and more to try to educate myself more on investing and stuff like that. So that way I can look out for my future, my family. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to leave my kids certain things. I just don't want them to build to save a whole bunch of money and give them a trust fund for they go to college. That'd be cool. That's cool and stuff like that. But set them up where they can start investing themselves under their name, so that way they can start building a portfolio and stuff like that. Like start setting that stuff up, IRAs for your kids and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of things that we can do to better set ourselves up, especially in the Black community too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is something we need to make sure we're doing that, because rich folks, they do it. Rich folks invest. You know what I'm saying? That's how that's what they do. They invest. They invest in all these, that's what they do. So I thought that's something that we need to be more conscious about. And that's why you see Odell taking steps. And I even see certain rappers do it, like Nas. He made a whole bunch of money investing into crypto, I think. So that's something that we all need to start. We need to start doing, start educating ourselves more and start pushing that as much as we're pushing college and other stuff.
Yeah, I think it's true. We definitely need to push that. We definitely need to educate ourselves, and we definitely need to because there's another aspect that we need to understand, folks. I've said this before on this podcast. It's not realistic nowadays to work at a job for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years and lean on your retirement or pension to live out the rest of your life. That's not realistic nowadays. A company rarely ever is a company going to stay loyal with you. And if something comes up numbers wise or something like that, it comes to affect the bottom line, they're going to release you for any dumb reason they can find. I don't care how great you may think that company is, you're going to get a rude awakening at some point. And that's just the reality of the situation. Now, there's some jobs out there that are like that, and that's few and far in between, but that's how majority of the jobs are. They put in a gear. It's like a machine. They put in a gear. Once they get enough out of that gear, they take another gear out, put another gear in, and that's how it operates. It's very soulless. And so for those of you that want to be in a situation where you are in the driver's seat to the life that you want, you are going to have to figure out ways to invest in other things to expand your portfolio so you can retire faster. Because I'm going to be honest with you. This ain't back in the days when employers were looking out for employees. It's not like how that was anymore. It's not like that no more. So it's not like that anymore. And me and I have in a bigger situation. We got to rude awakening. These, employers ain't really looking out for who you think they're looking out for. And I don't care how much they talk about company morale. I don't care how much they talk about family atmosphere.
It's baloney.
It's baloney.
It's all baloney. It's all baloney. Like
it's all baloney. Like and there's no accountability. You know what I mean? It's like, best luck on your future endeavors. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
They'll get rid of you in a heartbeat. Yeah. They'll get like
you can be the most talented person they have. You can be creative as crap. You can be
Yep.
the highest seller. And if it affects their bottom line in any way, shape, or dumb form, algorithm-wise or anything like that, gone by. It's over. I see this happen all the time. It's happened to me. It's happened to Ivan. Happened to most people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yep.
That's how it goes. And
you gotta do. Honestly, at the end of the day, you gotta make sure you're setting yourself up for the best for your future. Like no one's gonna do that for you. You can't leave that in nobody's hands, but really yours. You can't leave it in, well, besides God's hand, obviously. But other than that, you can't leave it you can't leave that in nobody else's hand, bro. Like you can't.
You can't depend on nobody. You can't depend on nobody really, but yourself.
You can even have a state job and still get done dirty. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, state jobs, they come with the pensions and stuff like that. Like, there's people that got done dirty by the state and had actual other, like, those type of professions where you can be like, okay, like, I know I'm good with those, which a good amount of times you are, but it's really not a lot. Like, there's still people that retire that still got to get a job. Like, is that really, that's not retirement. like, my dad, he retired right now. And he still works. And he still got a job. So,
yeah. Yeah.
So is that really retirement? I mean, I get it. Like some people want to work because they're bored and stuff like that. But there's some people that retired that gotta work still. Yeah, they still still gotta work. So we just gotta be thinking about that stuff and really looking out for and stop trusting businesses and stuff like that to have our back for like this pandemic. This pandemic didn't teach me one thing. It taught me that stuff can be taken away quickly. Like people that had one income that was struggling, you know what I'm saying? One income, and they were struggling to eat and to put food, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this pandemic told me, like, yo, you don't have control over nothing. Like everything can go good, and then bam, something can happen just like this, and everything be taken away, and then you're going to be screwed because you only had one income and you were dependent so much on this one occupation to pay for everything, and then once that is done, then we're screwed. You know what I mean? So
yeah. It's true, man. It's true, man. And that's and stuff can go like that. And speaking of stuff flaring up and just going off in a second, I want to get to, and I want to touch base on this couple sentences or less. I want to get to LeBron James being suspended one game after altercation with Isaiah Stewart. This is my thoughts, right? So LeBron rammed his elbow into Isaiah Stewart's face. Isaiah Stewart rages after LeBron and knocks over several coaches. Here's my response, right? Based on the tape, and I could be wrong. Even if I'm wrong, correct me. I didn't see LeBron like being a bully and being like, yeah, you took the hit, mother. Like I ain't see him cuss. I ain't see him say nothing out the way. I ain't see him antagonize dude, put a mean look on his face, like none of that. It looked like a face of remorse, like, oh, that was my bad. I didn't mean to do it. But I've seen people play hoop. I've done some basketball before. I'm nowhere near as good as Ivan at all. My hand-eye coordination was never all-star compared to Ivan or a lot of people for that matter. So one of the things that I had noticed was LeBron wasn't acting like the bully. It was just one of the things he made a crucial mistake and rammed his elbow in that dude's eye. And I think that set that dude off, especially when it started with his face started bleeding around his eye. When it started bleeding, I think that just set him off. Because, I mean, like in his mind, in Isaiah's mind, it's like this, right? You've played this game long enough to know that that's an illegal hit. Why are you doing that? So from Isaiah's frustration, I get that. I get why he kind of like pressed homeboy. Because it was like, yo, you've been around the league this many years. You know that's illegal. You can't do that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's why he charged at him. But I do think, yes, LeBron was wrong for hitting him in the face. But I think dude went completely, I think he saw red and he just started going off. And I'm not excusing the behavior, but at some point, it's like you got to have some kind of self-control a little bit. Like you knocking over coaches, random personnel. You know, he was trying to get at LeBron. It was obvious who he was trying to get at. But it was like, I just think the frustration built over time. And I didn't think, because you know how it is when you play in sports and you see your own blood and somebody does an illegal hit. Your anger is automatically shot up. I told a woman this, just talking about just like difference between men and women. And I literally told her, I was like, if you hit a man in the face, I don't care how nice that man is. If you hit a man in the face, slap or anything that's dirty, you're going to see a whole nother side of it. It could be the nicest guy in the world. That's a trigger. Us men getting slapped in the face randomly when we're not expecting it, it's a trigger. We will go off. All of the decorum is gone for a couple of seconds. Like, who hit me in the freaking face? It happens. And so to try to calm that down is tough, especially when you're not expecting it. Now, if you boxing or doing MMA, you're expecting to get hit because that's the environment that you're walking into. But something that you don't play sport, there's going to be a certain type of aggression, but you don't go in there thinking, oh my God, somebody's going to, elbow me in the face and I'm bleeding. At least not in the basketball court. Under those restrictions. So what are your thoughts, Ivan?
Oh man, and I had a conversation about this like throughout the week. Well, actually, what was it? Was it Sunday that happened? I think it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday that it happened. All right. So we even talked about it on the other podcast I'm a part of and stuff like that. So once I watched the whole video, here's my full analysis of what happened. All right. So him and Isaiah Stewart and LeBron, they were rebounding, and it was boxing out. Boxing out can be aggressive. There's times when you're playing basketball, when you're boxing out, someone can give you an elbow to the ribs. They'll get that stuff happens. Like get elbow, boom, you know what I'm saying. You want to send somebody a message, you get an elbow to the ribs and stuff like that. And I think LeBron was doing that, but in the process of it, he hit him in the face. You know what I'm saying? Which he started it. You know what I mean? He hit him in the face because I think he was trying to give him one of those gut check elbows, and it ended up hitting him in the face. So once he realized what happened, it was calm. And at one point, him and LeBron was just by themselves, face to face. It wasn't no tough guy energy. He wasn't no swinging, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time in the NBA, ain't nobody really swinging. Because the bottom line of the NBA is way more important. And most of these guys know that. The rules change. You know what I'm saying? And Adam Silver's NBA, if you really swing on somebody, you might get suspended the whole freaking year. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother conversation about that. About the rule change, stuff like that. So, like I said, they were face to face. LeBron obviously knew what he did was wrong. It wasn't like LeBron was whatever. He knew what he did was wrong. He was remorseful, stuff like that. And Isaiah Stewart, he wasn't puffed up. He wasn't mad. He was chilling. In this moment, he was chilling. This is right after the elbow. Face wasn't bleeding or anything. You know what I'm saying? Face wasn't bleeding, nothing. He was chilling. He was, no tough guy energy, no, blah, blah. So after more people got there, his teammates came, the Lakers and stuff came, and then his face, I guess, started leaking. So once he started leaking, that's when he went the freak off. He like Derrick Henry, bringing 6 or 7 tackles, 8 tackles, looking like Derrick Henry. His yards after contact was the Detroit Lions honestly should probably pick him up the way he bowled over everybody on the team, for real. But and the problem was with it all, to me, was Isaiah Stewart. And I agree, LeBron should have been suspended because he instigated it, and I agree with the suspensions. Honestly, because Isaiah Stewart, he's a young kid. He's 20 years old and stuff like that. So I agree with the suspensions. But Isaiah Stewart has to realize that he's a professional in the NBA and you represent the NBA brand. And him acting from an optics perspective, it looked bad. It looked really horrible what he did. He was bowling over his own teammates, the teammates, coaches, 50-year-old men, bowling him over, and he looked crazy. And you also got to think you're a black man at that. But that type of image, people are going to look, oh, this guy's a monster. You know what I'm saying? This guy's crazy.
Yeah, it's different.
It's a different optic.
Angry.
Exactly. It's a different optic. You know what I'm saying? Because at first it was chill. Now it'd be one thing if he elbowed, after LeBron elbowed him, he pushed him and tried to, that'd be, because it all happened at one setting, at one time. But after the elbow, LeBron was pretty much saying, my bad, being remorseful about it. They was face to face. Nothing happened. His teammates and everybody came, all right, whatever. And then his face started leaking. So after he escalated. So whatever LeBron did pretty much went away because of how you acted. So LeBron being the bad guy, that pretty much went away at that point because of what you did. You went the heck off. You bowling people over, breaking tackles, yards after carry, looking like he was on a rampage. And then after that, he ran in the back of the locker room still trying. It wasn't like it was over. he still ran the back in the locker room and was still trying to be at it. And with the NBA, yo, they're not, yo, I'm pretty sure the owner called him up to the office on it. And you know, he has to learn from this. And I know he will learn from this, but he has to learn that, yo, he represents an NBA brand and he's a professional. And they don't want anything close. And obviously, this is far from the mouths of the palace, obviously. Like, this is not even the same realm. But they would never want anything like that to ever happen again. Like, they don't even want to get nothing close to it. They don't want nothing to happen like that. And how he acted is not good for the brand. And not to mention you're a black guy. Like, the optic on that already looks bad. A tall black guy, 6'8", almost 300 pounds, dreads, all that. You know what I'm saying? It looks bad from that optic standpoint. So, I mean, I think he's a young kid. He saw blood, like you said. He freaked out. He overreacted, and tried to go after LeBron after, he was face to face with LeBron and didn't want any smoke for real. About the situation, just the last thoughts about what we were just talking about. Oh, okay. All right. So pretty much with the whole LeBron situation, I think the NBA handled it correctly. I didn't think they overreacted with the suspension. I know Isaiah Stewart, he'll learn from it. But, he's got to make sure he has more self-control in those situations because what he did is definitely not tolerated. And not to mention it's going to leave some type of reputation on you. So if anything does happen, they're going to give you texts and stuff like that throughout games and stuff like that. So he just got to be more careful and try to control himself in those situations for real. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's one of those situations where he just got to really sit down, look at the situation, learn from it, and move forward. And hopefully he's 20 years old. He's going to be a better person moving forward and moving on. And I think from LeBron's perspective, he's going to look at it and say, you know what? The kid is 20. Don't make him out to be a monster. You remember when you were 20.
And LeBron actually tried to get his phone number so he could reach out to him and talk to him too. So,
yeah,
he even tried you know what I'm saying? So there's not going to be no further problem. Isaiah Stewart will learn from this. And I hope people don't try to use this against him to make him think he's some thug in the league and stuff like that. So that's all I'm just hoping from the situation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you for stopping by. This has been an excellent episode. It's good catching up with you.
Yeah.
So if you would like to also plug both podcasts that you are part of and you're on, the floor is yours. You can do it now.
Okay, so real briefly, so one podcast or live Facebook show that I'm a part of is called Stadium Whispers, and it's on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. You can follow it, and we go live every Thursday at 8:15, and pretty much we just talk about sports. We're current sports. We talk about football, basketball, all types of sports, and we be arguing, going at each other's, faces, entertainment stuff. But, the same thing we do everywhere. We do it on here. It's on Facebook Live, and it's a good time to just meet a couple friends. And then my personal podcast is called the Just Ivan Jr. podcast, and that's available on all platforms like Apple, Spotify, and stuff like that. And pretty much, real quick, what that podcast is a Christian podcast, but I do it in a way where it's like a conversation. So if you're even not a believer and stuff like that, I still want you to listen to tune on. And I pretty much talk about real issues that the church doesn't really talk about. You know what I mean? I talk about real issues. I talk about, like, is faith something that you use to get something? Is the enemy always involved when things go wrong in your life? Is Halloween a bad thing? I go into topics and details that people have questions about that either traditional church folks will say certain things that's not exactly biblical, or and I just want to have real conversation because a lot of people have questions about Christianity and stuff like that, and even learn some wrong things. So I'd like to have deep conversations about that and talk about that and stuff like that. So it's entertaining. So check that out. It's on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, stuff like that. So.
Yep, absolutely. With that being said, this has been another edition of Audio Airstrike. Make sure you guys tune in. We definitely took a extended break due to the holiday season, but we're going to come out with a couple of glad that you came back and listening to a couple of new episodes. We're going to have another episode for y'all. This was a podcast discussing kind of like the ins and outs of sports, but the life lessons that we can learn from each and every incident. So this is what this show is all about, is kind of looking at these pop culture statements, looking at what's going on currently, and then seeing what life lessons we can learn from. And with that being said, we will be back with another episode soon. You guys take care.